This lesson and the next couple of lessons are going to be quite demanding because they take us out of the realm of typical guitar voicings. It's very easy on the piano to play adjacent notes, but on the guitar, it gets radical if not impossible. So I'm going to show you some approaches using just the left hand, using both hands, and also some of the impossible moves where you have to break it up a different way. We're going to be stacking intervals of seconds. So in Volume 1, you learned that the seconds would be the adjacent notes in this E major scale. So I want you to look at diagram 1, and here we have an extreme view from right to left. But before I demonstrate these chords, we're going to talk about fingernails, because when I sat down to do this video shoot, you know how your fingernails grow different ways, and sometimes they might wear in one spot, but the corners can come out. We're going to zoom in on my fretting hand. You're going to look at my fingernails. Now, I've got a lot of fingertip, because I've receded the nail back from years and years of filing them and filing them. So it's not as painful as it looks. It's actually no pain at all now. But my corners, I had to file back, because you're going to see that some of these chords are going to be so stretched over and you're going to be on the extreme corners of your fingers that your fingernail would be hitting the fretboard and you wouldn't be able to fret the notes very well. Now this is again on the extreme ends of playing the guitar. But I just wanted to point out this issue about my fingernails. So carefully, you can't file your nails back like this in one session. Gradually start receding your nails back very carefully with the file every couple of days. And in a matter of a few weeks, few months, you'll have more flesh, which will enable you to play on the sides of the tips of your fingers when you want to play these stretched out chords. Because otherwise, your nail's going to get in the way, and you're going to have some problems. Indeed, you may not be able to execute some of these moves. So enough about my fingernails. Let's look at some of these chord voicings. We're in the key of E, and what I'm going to do, we have the jam tracks that supply the E bass note, the F sharp, all the modal information that you learned in Volume 1. I'm going to show you how to apply these very briefly because we've got a lot of territory to cover, and as I said, I'm just going to give you chord voicings. It's up to you to play around them for the rest of your life. So our first voicing will look from the high string, the first string, and come down in the E major scale. Now if I'm coming down in an E major scale, I have E, D sharp, C sharp, B. So I'm simply laying each note out on one string. If I play that against a jam track, number 1, that has the E in the bass, here's what it's going to sound like. It's a pretty good sound. So what do I have? 5, 6, 7, 1. I've got a major 7, 6 chord. What would happen if I play that over an F sharp bass note? Different kind of sound, right? And you need to go through and test each individual voicing against each of the 6 jam tracks, because some of them are going to sound very appetizing, so to speak. That's an odd way to put it, but they're going to sound appealing. You're going to say, well, that sounds really great. For example, if I put it over the C sharp bass note, and that's playing them against the jam tracks. But shouldn't you also practice playing it, just like a pianist, put your own bass line in? So let's do this. Let's play. There it is with the E bass. And you listen to it. You savor the sound. And if you want to do your analysis, you'd say, okay, from the top, I've got a flat 7, then a 6, a 5, and a 4, and 11. Okay. And then what I would do, I'd say, well, okay, I got this F sharp bass note here. I'm having to use 2 hands. What could I do? I could double stop, get my F sharp bass note if I have to have it. Now, this is radical. This is on the extreme end of playing the guitar. See how I'm leaned forward and a big stretch and all that stuff? Then I'd listen to it over the G sharp. Well, it sounds like that E major 7, 6 again, but just with the 3rd and the bass. Now I'll play it with the A in the bass. Lucky me, I got an open A, I can do that one, or I could play this one, or I could start refingering it and say, well, what if I wanted to do it like this? Remember, play around with your fingerings, do everything you can to play it different ways. Now, how over the B bass? That's a great sound because I have a B add 9, add 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, the first tetrachord of the B Mixolydian mode. And then over the C sharp. Do you see? You want to practice playing it all by yourself with that bass note, because then you're approaching the guitar more like a piano. All right, so that's our first chord voicing, right? You might say, well, that hurts. I don't have the extension yet. I'd like to get that sound, but it's a little beyond me right now. Okay, then what do? We take the chord and break it up. These, especially when you're stacking these seconds, you're just going to play 3-note voicings. So here I am over the A bass note. If you can't hold the entire chord formation, you might just, well, in essence, it doesn't help you much on this one because you have to hold those 3 notes to get this. But let's say you can't get that first string clear yet. Well, you might just play those 3 and then move your hand. So make sure you break these structures up in diagram 1 and all of the next diagrams that come up where you're playing 4 voices at once, break them up into 3-note groups of adjacent strings, but then why not go like... So what am I doing over here? With my right hand, I'm not playing adjacent strings, I'm playing every other string. 4th and 2nd strings, 3rd and 1st. I've got a really nice part here. I'm in the A Lydian mode. Got a good sound. So do you see how you can just take the first chord voicing, because you're going to need to spend some time on this to even see the information this way. You're not accustomed to seeing 1 note per string, major scales. So I have, okay, E is my 1, D sharp is my 7, right? I'm thinking the key of E. C sharp is a 6, B is a 5. Okay, I need to see this. Now remember our process for moving through chord scales. You take each note, move it up to the next note in the scale. Well, that means that my E goes to an F sharp, and I have it color-coded on all these diagrams. You were playing the black notes. Now let's go to the red notes. So this is going to be a little over the top, if not impossible. Now, as I said in volume 1, that's really not doable because even if I get it clear, and even as short as I have my fingernail in the corner, the flesh is compressing and my second finger, the nail is digging in and I'm just not able to get it clear. And I'm on the verge of not getting that F sharp clear because I'm up on the fret. And even if I get it clear, is it going to be in tune? You're probably going to have some contortion. So what I do in a case like this, let's maybe approach it from 2-hand. And then you would look. Make sense? So make sure you explore these structures. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these because quite honestly, you're probably not going to use these that much. This is more advanced, but I wanted to present the information of stacking seconds. And then you're going to move each of these chords up through the scale, play them over the bass notes. You're going to practice playing double stops of adjacent strings. 3-note groups of adjacent strings. You're going to hop around, try different string groups, like we did earlier. Try the 2-handed thing. And I do want to talk about this 2-handed technique you see me playing. I'm not tapping, I'm holding a note. So if I play... Because I play classical guitar, I have my fingernails, they're all smoothed down, they're shaped properly, and I have my little fingernail. And that allows me to use it like a pick in a way. I can pick notes out. I could also... It's not real practical to try to finger pick with your thumb, middle, ring, and pinky because you can't get a lot of follow through and it's hitting your nails really on the side, but it's worth exploring because your thumb kind of runs into your middle finger. But do you see what I'm doing is because I want these sounds, I'm going to do whatever I have to get them there technically. Now remember that these voicings could also be used in a multi-track recording situation where you could just play 1 note at a time, go back, play the other note, and create these textures and these harmonies where you're using adjacent notes out of the scale. So there you have a second, a second, and a second. All you're doing is you're stacking the adjacent notes of the E major scale. And remember, it'll get easier as you go up the neck. You might be able to play it all with just 1 hand, but you're going to have to go through some contortion. Make sure you're holding the guitar classical style. Make sure you get under there and you do whatever you have to do. Don't hurt yourself on this. You could sprain some muscles, but be smart and enjoy these sounds. You probably will have a hard time enjoying them because you're going to hear all this clash of these seconds, especially those minor seconds. Remember to listen to the different modes because they'll be acceptable in certain modes, whereas in other modes they'll be sensitive tones and things just won't sound as well.